iHeartRadio's Black Information Network, and his powerful voice has been featured on CNN, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and many other major media outlets across the globe. A proud Texas A&M graduate, he is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, founded right down the road at Cornell University. Now he's wearing that purple and gold, but we'll leave that for another day. He is also a member of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, also known as the Boule. Roland Martin continues to challenge the status quo with bold, honest journalism and a commitment to justice and truth. Now, this is not his first time in the Cuse. He was here previously, several years ago, when he spoke at Onondaga Community College. Now, we had a chance to chat briefly, and I loved the way he challenged the youth to speak up, read, and use their intellect. Please join me in welcoming tonight's honoree and speaker, Roland S. Martin.
Appreciate it. All right. How y'all doing? First and foremost, that boy is blind. This is not purple and gold. I don't know what he looking at, but he is an Omega, so that says it all right there. So, see, first lesson: don't ever say nothing about the speaker who speaks after you. They never learn that lesson. They never learn it. All right. Glad to be here. How everybody doing? It is so glad to see folks. I think it's my third or fourth time here in Syracuse, and I'm glad to be back. And, of course, I've done numerous Freedom Fund dinners across the country and always been supportive of our civil rights organizations, the work that they do. Let me also thank the folks who have been supportive of the work that we do at the Black Star Network. You know, it was almost 7 years ago when I launched Roland Martin Unfiltered after TV One ended, News One Now, and there were, it was very interesting because I remember reaching out to the folks at YouTube, and they were funding a number of different efforts, and the folks there literally said that black news would not work. But it's no surprise. I mean, there were a lot of other people who were saying the same thing. There were people who were saying, man, go back to CNN, would love to see you on MSNBC, some other networks. But I wasn't interested in them because, frankly, most of them bored me to death. They bored me to death because it's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again, having the same conversation. Like, I don't understand how you got a 24-hour cable network and you can only seem to cover 3 stories a day. Like, really? There's, like, more stuff we can talk about. But that was always the issue that I had. But also, I understood that in the moment, what was needed was for us to be operating the digital space. And I remember, again, so many people saying, do something else, man, this ain't it. And I said, no, we're going to do this here. And in fact, what's really interesting to me is when I think about the folks who said that it was not going to work. And I said, okay, just watch us work. And we began to build. We started with 157,000 YouTube subscribers. Today we sit at 1.82 million. When YouTube a month ago started their top 100 podcast, we were number 78, then went to 67, then to the top 50. The only black news show on there. Everyone else was African American. They were sports or entertainment. And I purposely don't spend time covering those stuff. I don't care about a single damn housewife. I don't care about any reality show. I'm not about to sit here and have a whole bunch of back and forth when it comes to whether Kobe or LeBron or Michael Jordan is the greatest. Because I think the problem is we have so much of that already, but we do not have a whole lot of folk just focused on news and information. And we launched the show. We launched 4 other shows. And understand again, what happens when you do the work, when we were in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention, when you reach a certain level, YouTube assigns you your own person, and they told us that when they grouped us in the same category as all of the other, they put us in the category of the progressive shows. We don't call my show is not progressive, it's not conservative, we're not liberal, we're not Democrat, we're not Republican, we black. And I say that because we purposely center African Americans, so we're not a part of the conversation, we are the conversation. And they said they were surprised and shocked when they tabulated all of the shows that we had the highest watch time per viewer out of all the shows, including those that were far larger than ours. And that means that folks were truly engaged in our content. We've had some 36,000 donors since we started. We don't have any millionaires or billionaires. We fight in the ad industry every single day. $340 billion spent annually in this industry, yet black-owned media is only receiving 0.5 to 1% of advertising dollars. And that's one of the reasons why you don't see the growth among black newspapers. You don't see the growth when it comes to black digital outlets. There's a reason why when you look at the black cable networks, you don't see a single news show. The only show on BET, it's a monthly show that's 1 hour. And it's a whole lot that happens that we can't cover just in 1 hour per month. And so that's what we've been able to focus on. And so so many of you have stopped me and said that you subscribe to our channel, that you are a donor to our show. And one of the things I really appreciate about our fan base is I'm very frank with them. I say, listen, this is not going to be like, PBS or NPR. I'm not sending you a hat, a shirt, a tote bag. No, literally, I said if you donate to the show, all the money is going back into the show for the content and producing that. And we probably have had maybe 100 people complain about not getting something. But the other 36,000 said what we're getting is the news every single day from our perspective. And so that's why it has been fantastic in what we've been able to do. And we're streaming this right now, and that's the other deal. See, when you own it, you ain't got to ask. Like I had my assistant, I said, hey, is it being recorded, being live streamed? She said, well, I think it's being recorded. I was like, well, that's fine, because I carry my own stuff with me. And see, it's amazing when people go, you set your own stuff up? I was like, yeah, why would I pay for somebody to come with me to set it up when I can do it in 10 minutes? I'm like, that ain't a smart business person. That makes no sense to pay for an airplane ticket, a hotel room, a per diem, and a daily fee when I can do it myself. I've been setting up cameras since I was 14. Just because I own it don't mean I can't do it. And so we always good to go. So we're streaming right now, and then of course we will have it available later. So we're looking forward to that. And so again, so folks are watching, and again, this is why it's important. There's so much stuff that's being covered all the time. So much stuff that we cover, and so we appreciate that. So let me get to the task at hand. Your subject here is called "Together Unstoppable: Preserving Our Legacy." I'm about to augment that, and I'm going to call this speech "Together Unstoppable: Creating New Legacies." The folks who got awards, you saw all of the historic figures they were named after. And what I'll say is that one of the greatest problems that I have with many of our legacy civil rights groups is that we spend an inordinate amount of time talking about what we used to do. And we spend a small amount of time talking about what we're doing now and the future. I appreciate history. I appreciate history. I appreciate the historical record. I often talk on the show about who did what and tying these things together, but I'm not interested in 2025 with preserving a legacy, because if we're talking about preserving something, that means that we're trying to hold on to something that we used to do. And so preserving and legacy for me are two past tense words. And so we cannot have active organizations and we are thinking and operating in the past. Because how can we talk about what we're doing today if we're fixated on what we did last year? See, there are a whole lot of churches, a whole lot of organizations. There are folk who wear their fraternal and sorority colors. There are Prince Hall Mason and Jack and Jill and Eastern Star and Lynx. And we love talking about what we used to do. We love talking about who our historic members were, as opposed to, are we facilitating future historic figures now? See, when folk are reading the bio, everything in the bio is great, it's wonderful. I've done some amazing things, but all of those things are past tense. I'm not focused on the 6 years at CNN, the 13 years at TV One, at Tom Joyner Morning Show, and Austin American Statesman, and Fort Worth Star Telegram, and KRLD, and KKDA, and doing stuff for Essence and BlackAmericanWeb.com. That's all great, but none of that stuff pays a single bill today. None of that stuff puts us in a position to be able to do the work today and in the future. And so when this started, Gwen called this meeting to order. And so when a meeting is called to order, there's a part of the agenda called old business and new business. And so I'm about to talk a little about old business, but really fixate on new business. We are living in a time that many folk thought they were never going to see. There are folk in this room who are baby boomers, who went through the battles in 50s and 60s and 70s, dealing with Jim Crow, desegregation, busing, dealing with the hatred that existed all across this country. And folk thought when we were beyond that, they thought we would never ever see a shameful, lying, disgusting, convicted felon, twice impeached, narcissistic insurrectionist occupy the White House, and then we would have a political party that would bend their knee, bow down to that cult leader, and then claim, why are y'all still on a plantation? See, when you have folk present a platinum plan that was more like a tinfoil plan in an effort to somehow act like we couldn't tell the difference, and then they get into power and they are advancing an agenda that is anti-black, that is anti-human, that is anti-women, that is anti-LGBTQ, that is anti-morality, and then they have the audacity and the mitigated gall to stand in the nation's capital and then pray and call themselves evangelical leaders. While all of that is happening, then folk are somehow scared, and we're living in a world right now where these same thugs are unleashing other thugs who are snatching folk off the street, without identification, without warrants. And see, understand, black folk know what that means, because there was a time when we were snatched off of streets, and there are people in our families who were never ever found because they were taken and kidnapped by the Klan and others. They were killed and lynched, and then we had no idea what happened to them. And we have folk today who are silent while this is happening because they are scared to say something out of fear of what is going to happen next. When you have folk who are so excited about a new pope, and then all of a sudden you have some Catholic priests who say, I'm going to travel to hearings with undocumented folk, and I dare y'all to kidnap them while they're in my presence. It's amazing when they back down. See, that's what happens when you have moral leadership. That's what happens when you simply get out of your pulpit, when you get out of your comfort zone, and you take the word of Jesus Christ to the streets and not spend so much time in your air-conditioned, carpeted mausoleums. I'm sorry, you might call it a church. Because how in the world can we have right now an immoral administration, but we have too many so-called moral leaders who are quiet and not willing to stand up to what is going on, because maybe they fear they might lose a contract, they might lose an invitation to something. If there was a time for moral leaders to exercise their moral leadership, now is that time. Some of you may have seen the last few days, I had a few words to say for some black Baptists. And let me be real clear, everybody who watches me, who has followed me, my career has been the same. My motto has been very consistent. If you do good, I'm going to talk about you. If you do bad, I'm going to talk about you. At the end of the day, I'm going to talk about you. And for the past 18 weeks, we have seen African Americans and allies all across the country boycotting Target for their rollback on DEI, when they promised in the wake of the murder of George Floyd that they were going to advance the number of black-owned products on their shelves, commit $2 billion annually to black-owned businesses. But because of the thug-in-chief's attack on DEI, Target and Walmart and numerous other companies pulled back on their efforts, and then they rolled back. And on January 24th, they made their announcement. On January 27th, their stock price was $142.50. And when we said we're not going to go in your stores and stop buying your products, that stock price dropped to almost $91. And while we have been ramping up, pushing them to do what's right, holding them accountable, laying out 4 items, and that is recommitting to your $2 billion annually, open up 10 retail centers on HBCU campuses, depositing $250 million annually in 23 black banks, and then reimagining DEI. While we have been sitting here doing all of that hard work, here comes along the National Baptist Convention USA, along with COGIC, and along with the National Missionary Convention of America, so-called representing 43,300 churches, and then they decide to go meet with Target and then walk out with a $300,000 check. Here we are trying to advocate for $2 billion for black-owned businesses, and they walk out with $300,000 per church. I broke the numbers down. It came out to about $3.22 a church. Hell, I got $1,000 on me right now. I could fund probably 200 or 300 of their churches if that's what the going rate is. And so how in the world, when we're in the middle of trying to advocate economically for people, for African Americans, then you then say, well, we're meeting with Target and working on a 3 to 5 year plan to create an entrepreneur program? What in the hell are you so-called preachers talking about when literally we're talking about $2 billion annually for black-owned businesses? We don't need an entrepreneurial program when we actually have existing businesses. And I have made perfectly clear to every single one of the leaders of those denominations, as long as you keep the money, I'm going to keep kicking your behind every single day. And if need be, I will show up at your church, sit on the front row, and look you dead in your eye and say, how are you not going to stand with black folks and you're going to take a check? If you that broke, you may need to learn how to take up a better offering. See, again, when you're dealing in moments like this, this is not the time for weak leadership. This is not the time for impotent leadership. This is not the time for leadership who is happy to go along and get along because you got invited to the mayor's Christmas party or you got invited to some other event. I'm simply saying, if you are willing to challenge power, and that's what you are supposed to be doing, then you should never be in a situation where leaders in this city are comfortable in your presence. Had a brother hit me. He said, man, a particular black mayor, he said, man, he don't think he like you. He said, he don't think you like him. I said, first of all, I don't even know him. I said, it's not that I don't like him. I disagreed with something that he did. And I said, and I chose to actually say it. And see, what's a problem for so many people, that we are so fixated on just making other folk happy and being friends. Let me explain something to y'all. My mama had 7 brothers and sisters. My daddy had 8. On my mother's side, my grandparents lived 8 blocks from us. We spent every Sunday at my grandparents' house until my grandfather died when I was 15 years old. And then we still went to the house after my grandmother was a widow. Now, the 8 kids had 39 kids. The 39 kids had 72 kids. The 72 had more than 120. So let me be real clear. I don't need no friends. I never spent the night at a non-relative's house until I got to college. And so I ain't afraid to say what needs to be said. I'm not afraid to call somebody out and walk into the room and say, hey, how you doing? And they look at me like I'm mad. Because, see, you cannot be so afraid to challenge power when you are supposed to be challenging power. You cannot be silent in the face of some critical problems. When I'm in the VIP reception and man tells me about the poverty rate in this city. And I'm sorry. I can't sit here and be silent to hear somebody tell me about the high poverty rate in this city, and I did not hear poverty one time tonight. See, we're going to talk about an economic agenda, and if this is going to be a meeting, then I need economics to be on the agenda. When I go into any city, I ask the question, name me the top 5 black-owned businesses in the city. And then I want to know what area they are in, what their annual billing is, how many employees do they have. Because, see, if you are not having a money conversation, you're not having an American conversation. We can talk about mass incarceration, that's money. We can talk about an education problem, that's money. We can discuss health disparities, that's money. You pick me the category, I guarantee you money is tied to it. And so if we're not going to be having a conversation about sitting here for the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner, then the question I have is, what role will this chapter play in changing the economics of this city over the next 364 days, so when you come back here next year for your unseasoned chicken, The highlight of the night should not be the keynote speaker or the honorees. The highlight of the night should be you laying out how this chapter changed this city economically since the last meeting. See, I'm not interested in Negro check-off events. I'm not interested in folk that buy tables or at NAACP event. We're going to do this event. Go there, take selfies, photos. We showed up. We good. We got our black card check for the next year. No. If you are sitting in this room, then, and this is an annual meeting, what you should be saying is, how am I, whether I am black or white or Latino or Asian or Native American, whether I am a man, a woman, whether you are LGBTQ, transgender, non-binary, whatever you want to call it, it does not matter. You need to be asking yourself, how am I committed to the goal and the objectives of the NAACP, and if I'm sitting in this room and I am not committed to what their agenda is, then my advice, no disrespect, even if you paid for your ticket, is send somebody next year, because it is a waste of space to sit here and give the public facade that you are down with the agenda if you're not willing to work on the agenda. This is not about a feel-good moment. This is literally about how do we use these moments as recommitment ceremonies to the goals that we have established. When they have a wedding, it's called a recommitment ceremony, where you recommit to your wedding vows. Then how are you recommitting to the agenda of the organization? Then if you are sitting here saying, well, you know what, they should be doing this, they should be doing that, and if they were doing this, then I would join, then I would then say, if you join, then you can actually change the agenda to address the very issues. But if you're standing on the outside talking about what the inside is doing, all you doing is running your damn mouth. See, I'm just not interested in playing games. I'm not interested in being in this state where you have a governor that cuts a deal to spend more than $1 billion on a football stadium for a team in Buffalo when the team is owned by billionaires. And so it's amazing when folk tell me we cannot fund money to feed the poor, to clothe the hungry, but we sure as hell know how to find money to build stadiums for billionaire team owners that can afford to build it themselves. When I see what is happening around all these issues right now in the Senate, they're going through this so-called big, beautiful bill, which is a big, bold lie. It is going to decimate when it comes to food programs. They don't care. When you look at the tax cuts for the rich, that's what they are advocating for. They want to cut money from rural broadband. I can go down the line. The question is, how many people in this room have been on the phone calling your U.S. senators and calling your members of Congress and calling the White House and telling them, don't you dare vote for that bill or they will be hell to pay at the ballot box? See, we can't be sitting here complaining about what's happening in this country if we're not willing to challenge power and push them to do what's right. And sometimes pushing power means pushing folk that look like us who run our organizations. And sometimes we got to have the courage to tell some people, hey, boo, it's been great, it's been wonderful, but it's time for you to sit down. It's time for you to stop running for office, stop being happy you on the mic, because frankly, you don't have it anymore. And see, there ain't nothing wrong with retiring. But many of our organizations are dying because folk don't know how to leave when it's time to go. And so if we're going to be challenging folk in this country, it is going to require regular and ordinary people doing extraordinary things and committing themselves to being public servants, committing themselves to being change agents, committing themselves to do something that is bigger than their personal checkbooks, and doing something that does not require you getting recognition and getting an award and having to be on the mic and having to be on television. When I interviewed Reverend Dr. James Lawson, he was the brother who was in Memphis, the one they asked to call Dr. King to come to Memphis. When I interviewed Dr. Lawson, he passed away last year at the age of 95. I asked Dr. Lawson, I said, your last memory of Dr. King? He said it was at Mason Temple, April 3rd, 1968. He said Martin was in the pulpit, and I was sitting on the last pew in the church. And he said Martin was where he was supposed to be, and I was where I was supposed to be. Here's one of the greatest minds, nonviolent leader, the creator of the Nashville movement, the one who trained John Lewis and Diane Nash and James Bevel and C.T. Vivian. He said, I was sitting on the last pew, exactly where I was supposed to be. He wasn't tripping on not being in the pulpit. He wasn't tripping on not having his name shouted and folks standing up, because he was about to work. And I asked him, I said, when the bullet struck Dr. King at 6:01 p.m. Central, he said, I was at home because I promised my wife that I would always be home for dinner at 6 o'clock. He said, otherwise I would have been at the Lorraine Motel. And I said to him, after Dr. King died, what did y'all do? He said, we had no time to grieve because we had work to do. And if y'all go to Google, you're going to see a series of photos. And there was a Life magazine article, because there were a number of media folk who were in the hotel. And there's a Life magazine article, and he's shooting photos of these grief-stricken black men sitting in the same hotel room 6 hours earlier, where Dr. King was in a pillow fight with Andrew Young, Hosea Williams, and the others. In the photo, Dr. King's suitcase, his monogram bag, is literally sitting right there. All his stuff is in there. And you look at this photo, and they're in the room. Ralph Abernathy, Andrew Young, Ben Hooks, and others. And here they are in the room, hours after their leader was slain before their very eyes, and they were planning the march that he was there to lead. So if those brothers, in the moments after King was assassinated, could somehow put their grief aside and move forward to advocate on the behalf of the sanitation workers and the black folks in Memphis, you tell me how you cannot commit yourself to do the exact same thing, to be focused on planning and protesting and marching and leading on behalf of people today. This is a moment that requires this generation to stand up and do something, not talk about it, not tweet about it, not post it on TikTok and Instagram, not talk about it amongst your friends, but there's no greater moment for you to say, we are going to create a new legacy in Syracuse, a new legacy in New York State, a new legacy in this country, and you have to be willing to be one of the folk to actually do it. Which means that after this dinner is over, you got to do what Ella Baker told the SNCC workers. She told them, she said, listen, when y'all go down to Mississippi and Alabama, she said, them black folks may not have a college education. They may only have a second and third grade education. She said, but they're smart. And you need to take your college clothes off and put your overalls on and sit down and ask those folk, what is it that they want to see accomplished. And what I'll say to you in here is that you're going to have to get out of this ballroom, take off your suits and ties, put on your work clothes, and go into neighborhoods many of you may avoid to sit down and talk to folk who you don't necessarily want to talk to listen to what they have to say, and ask them, what is it that you want us to do? And then once they say that, then you say, we are here to stand with you to actually make that become a reality. Because one of the reasons people are so frustrated and angry and they believe they can't do anything is that nobody cares about them. Because the reality is a lot of folk avoid them, don't talk to them, don't sit with them. And if you had a Dr. King who had the audacity to go to Memphis to sit down with 1,100 sanitation workers, then you can't tell me you can't go into neighborhoods in this city and convene with folk and talk to folk. And so I suggest that you take your next meeting out of a ballroom, out of a rec center, and take it directly in the heart of the community and tell folk we are here to listen to you. We want to enlist you in this battle, because if you're going to change anything, it's going to require people to stand up and use their collective action to move. The same sermon, April 3rd, 68, Dr. King said that black people collectively, individually are poor, but collectively represent one of the largest economies in the world. He said, but we cannot change anything unless we move together. That's the collective part. So that's half of your slogan here. You cannot become an unstoppable force if you're not moving together, if you're not sitting here consulting and talking and moving ego aside and pooling resources. I can tell you, because we've seen the evidence, that when people of conscience come together, black or white or Hispanic or Jew, Gentile, it does not matter, atheist, doesn't matter, who care about the issues, we can see a level of change that will shake the foundations of this country. But it requires you to commit yourself to the action, and so you have to do that here. You must commit yourself to do something. Pick one area that you are going to work on, and understand it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to deal with folk who are going to say you shouldn't be here. But see, I understand that, again, when folk understand a vision and they come up with a vision of change and then they begin to build, then it actually can get done. Because if anybody who actually reads the Bible and you read Nehemiah, you will understand that Nehemiah had a vision, because Nehemiah was crying and was crestfallen when he got word that the wall of Jerusalem had crumbled. And Nehemiah, then the king said Nehemiah was wrong, and he told him, well, go see about your people. And Nehemiah came back and he observed the wall, and then he came up with a plan of action. Then he went to the people and told the people his plan. And if you read your Bible, it will say right there, the people said, let us rebuild. Not Nehemiah, not the leaders, but the people said, let us rebuild. Which means that you cannot come up with a plan of action if you don't go talk to the people. When you go talk to the people and the people get your vision, the people are going to say, let us rebuild. And then when they begin to build, the haters were saying, y'all can't do it. Nehemiah said, keep building. And the haters said, y'all can't finish this project. Nehemiah said, don't worry, keep building. As they made progress, the haters said, oh, no, we got to stop y'all from building. So they began to attack them. Nehemiah said, keep one hand on your weapon and you keep building with the other hand. Do you understand? If you start doing what I'm talking about, it's going to be some haters in your city. It's going to be some folk who look like you. It's going to be some folks who are at your country club. It's going to be some folks who go to your church who you think are with you, but they're not with you, but they are haters. But you have to keep building. See, but the beauty of keep building is you don't stop, because when you actually finish, then they start recording the names of the folk who actually did the work. And so when you read chapter 2, 3, and 4, they start saying, these folks built this portion of the wall, and these folks built this portion of the wall. See, ain't it something? Not one hater's name is mentioned. Not one naysayer's name is mentioned. but it only mentions the folk who built their portion of the wall. Now, why is the portion so important? Because the person on the west side can't be so fixated on what the folks on the east side are doing. You got to focus on fixing your west side gate. And the north side can't be worried about the south side. I need you to focus on your side. And because folk worked together, followed the vision, and they said, make it plain, they then finished the wall that provided protection for the people of Israel. So the question is, what walls are you building in Syracuse? What healthcare walls are you building? What educational walls are you building? What economic empowerment walls are you building that protect the folk on the inside and then give them refuge to the folks on the outside? So if you want to do something major, then I suggest that you take up the mantle, take up the agenda, and begin to start building. You begin to start working on the plan. And it might take 1 year or 2 years or 5 years, but there's nothing greater when you finish building. And when you finish building, instead of you coming to this event and honoring folk based upon what folk did 50, 60, 70 years ago, then you're going to have a new list of honorees, because you're going to be honoring people who did something in the past 10, 15, 20, or 10 years forward and not 50 years back. But none of that can happen if you don't have a vision, don't go to the people, and don't start building, and understand you are going to have folk who are going to stop you, and all you got to do is say exactly what my fat brother Vertner Woodson Tandy said to all the haters. He said, when it comes to battling, we will fight until hell freezes over, and then we will fight on the ice.
Well, well, he done talked about the chicken. He done gave us some assignments. I started taking notes. I hope some of you all began to take notes. Because Syracuse, we have some work to do. And I think we should take Mr. Martin up on his challenge that next year we need a vision that we are responding to after tonight on how we can help bring this city back. And not just some of us in this city, but all of the folks of the city. And so make sure you look at who's at your table when y'all see each other at Wegmans or Tops or downtown at the market, that we're having this conversation, that we're considering what our role is in helping to address the future for ourselves, for our young people. Can we have, if you are a young person in this room, under the age, my son is here, so I'm going to say under the age of 20, please stand. Any young people in the room? Or even if you still consider yourself young, this is our future, and tonight we need to keep talking about the vision, keep talking about the economic impacts. I'm not here representing Center State CEO today, but I need y'all's help at the table. And we need to keep talking about where are we in the fight to help establish more Black and brown businesses? Where are the opportunities for our young people to take advantage of the next things? Where are we doing more work to help the educators, the community activists, the community leaders, the nonprofit leaders to provide the services needed? So thank you, Mr. Martin, for reminding us of that. Let's give him another round of applause. Roland Martin, everybody. I like when people start showing up and speaking the truth. It shakes us up, right? And we need to be challenged. We need to be challenged. The next matter of business before we close out this evening, on your tables, there are membership cards. Please complete them, and as you are leaving tonight, take your photos, connect with who you're going to be building and working with over the next year as we work towards empowering the city, but also consider joining the NAACP and dropping those membership cards in the box as you leave out this evening. Okay? Okay, so I did that. We hope everyone had a fabulous dinner. We want to thank the Freedom Fund Gala Planning Committee. They have helped to make tonight's event a success. And did we not all enjoy ourselves? Let's give them a round of applause for the dinner committee. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on. Go ahead, Martin. Go ahead.
You ain't doing this right. Okay, all right. So first of all, you ain't leaving no damn cards in a box, okay? Raise your hand if you are not a member of the Syracuse NAACP branch. If you are not, raise your hand. All right, so we ain't wait. I need you to fill out your card right now. Where's the? Do me a favor. Y'all got some volunteers. Do me a favor. See that tray over there? See that food tray? Bring 2 of those trays over here. All right, so we ain't dropping no cards off in the back. We ain't doing none of that. I want you to fill your card out, and then if you fill your card out, raise your hand. All right, so good. So you go ahead and stand up. Stand up. Come on, put that tray right here. Put that tray right here. There you go. All right, pull it back here. Pull it back this way. All right, so if you fill your card out, I need you to stand up right now, walk on down this aisle, and drop your card right down here. We ain't doing that box stuff. How much is y'all membership? Yeah, y'all, it's $30. Y'all spend more in Starbucks on one trip than it costs to be a member of this chapter. So Gwen said they got 150 people on the roll, 12 active members. So we need to have at least 50 new members right here. Gwen, come on, I need you to count card. Come on, Gwen. I need you to be counting, Gwen. Okay, come on, keep going. Okay, if your table didn't have a card, raise your hand. We're going to drop a card off at your table. Okay, we're trying to get 50 new members. Let me know how many you got. Y'all don't have cards? Okay, y'all, turn the lights on. I need y'all to turn the lights up in the room. I need y'all to bring some cards to this table over to my right. Come on, bring. Hey, where are the people with the cards? Where are the members with the cards? I need y'all to get up and move. This table over here, I got about 8 people over here that needs a membership card. If y'all have an extra card on your table, just walk it on over here. Come on, walk it on over here. Come on. Go ahead, how many we got? Hey. Membership is included in your dinner ticket. But you got to fill the card out. See, y'all ain't even got to pay. You already paid. So a membership to the branch is in your dinner ticket. All you got to do is just fill the card out. Y'all let me know when y'all, come on. You got your card? There you go, baby, come on. You got your card? Come on up. That's right. I need y'all to turn the house lights up. I need to see people. If there's no cards on your table, come on, man, don't worry about it. Come on, forget that photographer. Come on, drop your card off. We ain't waiting. We're trying to be here all night. That's right. Come on. I got a 6 a.m. flight. Let's go. All right. We're going to do this for 120 more seconds. Fill that card out, walk on up here, and drop your card off. I need y'all to be counting. Come on. Y'all, come on. We got some more people. Come on. Keep coming. That's right. If you're young, it don't matter. You can fill the card out as well. Come on. That's right. Keep coming. That's right. I see y'all coming. Hey, y'all need to put on some membership music. Y'all got the OJs back there or something? Y'all got any music like something? Teddy Pendergrass, something? I mean, hell, I don't put on Chicago, Bruce Springsteen, something back there. Oh my God, y'all need to have some membership music next year. Come on, we're almost there. We're almost done. 60 more seconds. Fill that card out. Come on up. Fill that card. Come on up. There you go. Hey. Have y'all counted? Good. How many is that? Come on. You got 120 so far? Come on. We about to hit about 130, and then we're getting out of here. But we're going to hit 150. Come on. Y'all keep. That's right. Drop it. That's right. Drop it. What's up, 06? Come on, drop it down. There you go. I see you. Come on down here. What's up, brother? I see you. Come on. Drop it. Huh? I'll be in Philly. Come on to the Alpha Convention. Come on. All right. 30 more seconds. Fill your card out. Come on down front. Come on. I see you, Pinky. Come on, Pinky. You in pink dress, pink shoes. You got all that pink. Probably got pink earrings on. Look at this here. We got about 10, 12 people over here. All right. So come on, 20 more seconds. Let's go. We almost out of here, y'all. We almost out of here. Hey. Y'all need to go take y'all seat. Y'all need to go and sit down. Hey. Y'all need to go and sit down. Come on. We got to finish this thing. How you doing? I'm all good. Y'all blocking the aisle. Come on. That's right, brother. Come bring your card up. That's right. Come on. Drop your card off right here. Hey, Gwen, we ain't got time to be hugging, Gwen. I need you to be counting cards. What you doing? I need a final count. Y'all, all of the hugging and stuff, y'all can do in the foyer when I'm signing books. Now, come on. Baby, we'll do in a minute. Okay. How many cards we got? That's it? Anybody else? All right, what's the number? All right, then. So when we started tonight, hey, shh. When we started, when I sat there, I turned to Gwen. I said, come on, y'all got 2 more cards? All right. That's 2. That's all right. We got 1 more. There we go. So when I turned to Gwen, I said, how many members y'all got? She said, we got 150 members. We got 12 active. And so just with those 3, you coming with a card or something? Come on. You got 2 in your hand? You got 1 or 2? You got 2. All right. We got that one. So with that card right there, that's 266 folk who joined the chapter tonight. So now you can close this out.
All right. Right. What did he say? Be careful because the person speaks after you or something? All right, Mr. Martin. We're going to have him on Behind the Woman, but we'll talk about that a little later. Thank you all. This is the power. I think what he just exemplified is the power of calling people to action. Let's remain in an activated mode. Tonight's theme was Together Unstoppable, and look what we just were able to accomplish. Let's continue thinking about how we preserve our legacy. And tonight, this could not be a more important theme as we witness the attacks on voters' rights, women's reproductive health. All right now, y'all. This is important. This theme, the call to action tonight, could not be more important as we look at the attacks that are happening on voters' rights, women's reproductive health, education, healthcare, all of that coupled with the continued and heightened occurrence of biases, discrimination, and hatred fueled against racial, cultural, religious, and gender groups across our country. Activity in the murder of Black and brown people, Black and brown bodies going missing across the nation. It is important that we stay the course, that we get engaged. It's important that we continue to educate, advocate, and protest now more than ever before. We need your hands. The NAACP needs your feet, your voices to join them in helping to dismantle racism and defend democracy. This concludes our dinner tonight. I want to thank the NAACP President Gwen for having me here. We want to say congratulations to our members, honorees, Mr. Martin. He wants everyone to know that he will be in the lobby signing books, so be sure to stop by and say hello, purchase a ticket, and thank him for joining us. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank the existing members and the brand new over 212 members of the Syracuse, Onondaga County NAACP. Now, don't just fill out the card and drop your name on the table. We need folks to get involved. We need you to get activated. We need allies, more so, we need accomplices. Let's continue to do the work. Thank you and good night, Syracuse. We will have our closing benediction by Superintendent Daniel Atkins.
It's hard to put a preacher up behind a preacher, behind a preacher. But can you say with me, we are better together. So when you join tonight you joined, 200 of you joined. I want to see you at the next meeting. So I'm going to ask you to pursue what sets your soul on fire. So tonight, the NAACP has set your soul on fire. You got to get active. You got to get active. We had some friendship. We had some fellowship. We had dinner. Everybody's happy. And now we got some new members. I know y'all waiting for the preacher to stop. I ain't the Baptist preacher, so I ain't going to stop 3 times. But if you would bow your heads with me, we'll say the prayer from St. Jude 24 and 25. Now unto him who is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory, with exceeding joy, to the only wise God, our Savior, be glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Say with me, amen. 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 God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity. The meeting is closed.
Here we go. Now that's better.